Hello and welcome to this Monday 5th, 2019 episode of the Attn Podcast. This is a Gary V Club podcast. And the purpose of the podcast is to be able to help you know what Gary V is talking about and to help focus on specific areas in much shorter clips than his long clips. So in the book, Crushing It, he talks about the 8th essential content. To monetize your personal brand into a business using social marketing networks, 2 pillars need to be in place: product and content. That's from Crush It, chapter 5. And so in this chapter, he says, document, don't create. And then it has some stories of how people are crushing it. And that's about it. Then it goes to what's stopping you. So if you have a product, create content that's going to align with that product. If you don't have a product and you have content and you're creating content, find a product that aligns with your content, that aligns with who you are. The reason Gary Vee doesn't sell out quite like a lot of other people is because he's building something for the long term. And that's the difference between a sprinter and someone who's running a marathon. Now, one of the really interesting things about this is that the long-term marathoners create content that they're passionate about, that's valuable. And they create the content, and probably some of their most favorite content is some of the least watched and consumed content. That's what we got to think about and focus on here. That's one of the differentiating factors between Gary Vee and a lot of the other marketers out there. Gary is saying, create content, give. And you know what? On that 99th piece of content, you may say something just right that resonates with just that right person, and that person then decides to buy. You know, it's that jab, right hook, you know. So that's why I really like Gary's teachings. I really like Gary's teachings because it's a focus on the long-term marathon. You know, this marathon of content creation allows you to refine. And some of the first content may not be great, but you still keep at it. You keep at it. I'm 30 days into content, only on day 3 of Gary V Club content. And I mean, it's just a habit that you create for yourself. And I'm getting better on camera. I'm getting better. And what he was talking about is, you know, some people are more enthusiastic. Some people are more monotone. And all of those different things work. Create the content that works for you. Create what's right for you. And that's why I'm creating the content that I am. My day starts off with the Sidekick Mastermind. That's focused on living, working, playing, loving, learning, and paying it forward, plus using the best tool for the job. Then, a couple hours later, I start the Gary V Club podcast, the Attn Podcast. That's focused on Gary V's teaching, content, the 4 people, the 180 strategy, crushing it, crush it, jab, right hook, the thank you economy. All these things I'm going to be talking about on this podcast. You know, it's this content marketing. It's a content marketing podcast. So then I have the Happy Hero Show. What's the Happy Hero Show? Well, that's focused on the 8 habits daily that you should be doing in order to create that content, in order to get the things done that you need to do, like vlogging daily, reading daily, listening to audio daily, coach and being coached daily, daily masterminding. All these things that you'll do daily be all in your life and life's work daily. That's what the Happy Hero Show podcast is about. It's those daily habits that help you to become who you want to be. It's how you actually program yourself to become who you want to be through content. So those things are what the Happy Hero Show is about. Then I move on to Apple Sidekick because I believe Apple tech is some of the best tech out there, and I'm going to be using that in my spaces in these villages of the future. And I want to learn as much as possible, attract the right people, and focus on that ecosystem. Same with Tesla. I'm doing the same thing there. It's learn as much as I can, engage as much as I can, and use that ecosystem to the greatest benefit. Next is 60-second brand. That's just a short podcast that I do, and that's based on the 6 brand commitments that I've created in the Happy Hero Pack. And those commitments are, first, be inspired to inspire others. Then innovate to solve problems and serve others with passion. Then create a raving fan experience. Be resourceful to get the needed resources. Have a simple business model to make buying easy. And celebrate the milestones. That's what that 60-second brand podcast is about. And then finally, I wrap up the day with a Law of Success mastermind, which is based on Napoleon Hill's teachings to have definiteness of purpose, positive mental attitude, all those things. So I'm focused on all this with the intention of recruiting, attracting customers, attracting employees, attracting investors. And while Gary says that he doesn't expect anything, I'm not expecting anything out of these, but I am doing it for this purpose of attracting the right people to join this ecosystem with me, to join the projects that I'm working on to help build the villages and cities of the future. It's about solving the problems and serving others. And because I believe that we need to work together, and to have an entity like this is very important with the way technology is moving. I'm kind of focusing on Apple and Tesla because those are the 2 underlying technologies and technology companies that I'm going to basically use to help propel these village ambitions forward. And the Apple technology is taking the best and spreading it around. The Tesla technology is taking the best and spreading it around. There's no sense in partnering with other companies. There's no one else like Elon Musk. There's no other company like Apple. These are very unique entities, and that's why I'm focusing on it. Same with Gary Vee. He's a very unique person, and that's why I have a podcast specifically on his teachings. Now, I am calling it the Grab Attn Podcast because it's not just about Gary Vee. I mean, he didn't invent this stuff. He's just the one that's popularizing this stuff. But I'm using him because I believe that his model will be used. In this model, I was starting my own marketing agency. I decided not to because Gary does it so well. And that the way that Gary is going to, well, the way he has been expanding, I like it. I like how he's working with small businesses and working with people through his 4Ds, through all of his content. And there's no one else like that. That's why I really would like to work with him long term. I really would like him to be a long-term partner in some form because he's just that unique and special. And the way that he's going about business is that unique and special. And not everything he does is right. The swearing and those things, but it's about being unique to you and being authentic, those types of things. This isn't a, religious podcast or anything like that. Those types of views are to be kept elsewhere. This is about taking the best and spreading it around. And you look at Gary and the moral compass that he has, and that's what's key. There's nothing other than, a pure moral compass of moving forward. And then some of those things, some people may say, well, because he's not in religion, then he's not doing things right. He's too worldly, these kind of things. And that's up to you to decide. And that's why I've created this podcast, because it talks about his teachings without the swearing. I'm a little bit different than Gary Vee. I'm doing things a little bit different. But at the same time, he is building some really good stuff, and he's giving a lot of great content. And he's starting to create some that's edited. So that's why I've created this, to help you navigate all this content that's out there. And I'm narrowing it down in a small amount of content, and I'll eventually have a 24-hour streaming. I'm not going to be the only one talking. All of these shows, I intend to build them out with additional people and make them high quality shows, high quality content to build happy hero villages, the villages both for today and tomorrow. So I hope you understand what I'm doing here. I hope that you understand what content is right for you. This is the content that's right for me. Gary V's content is what's right for him. Your content is going to be what's right for you. That's how it works. So I appreciate you. Thank you for listening or watching. And come back tomorrow.